Welcome student to the course Physics of Linear and Nonlinear Optical Waveguides. In the last class we started the wave equation concept of wave equation and then the solution and then the Maxwell's equation, and today we like to understand the wave propagation in vacuum and its solution and if possible the Poynting vector and Maxwell's equation in dielectric medium. So, let us start quickly. So, today we have lecture 2. So, we have two equations. That was the first equation we have. The wave equation for electric field, and also we have the wave equation for magnetic field. These two equations we have. So, today we will try to find out the solution, and the solution we will find this way. So, the solution of the Maxwell's wave equation. So, already in the first class we know that if we have a wave equation, then the solution has a typical form, and let us say this typical form, let us write in this typical form as this. This is a very special form. I have an electric field E, and the right hand side I have the electric amplitude E0. This is the amplitude part, and this entire part is a phase part. Inside the phase I have a space variable and also the time variable, and I demand that this should be a solution of the Maxwell's equation, and we can find the solution with the condition that k is equal to omega divided by c. That is the condition we will finally find in order to have this as a solution, and this k is called the propagation constant or the propagation vector. This is the propagation vector. Well, let us check whether really this is a solution or not. So, I have my E as E0 e to the power of I, k dot r, I can divide this k dot r as kxx plus kyy plus kzz, kx, ky, kz are the three components minus of omega t, and then after having that, let me put it in the equation. I need to calculate this quantity grad square E. So, this is del 2 del x square del 2 y square. In the shorthand notation, this is the way one can write. This will going to operate over this term, whatever the term I have, which is E0 e to the power of I, then kx x plus kyy plus kzz minus omega t. Now, if I operate this thing, you can readily understand that when we operate the first term over that, then it should operate only on the x component of this term, and here the x is present here kxx. So, when I operate these things, so I will have I kx outside, and then the rest of the term will remain same. In a similar way, when you operate once again, because this is a second order derivative once again, then what we have another I kx term and so on. So, due to 2 I kx, this I will be I square. So, I will have a negative sign, and I have k x square plus k y square plus k z square, this thing, and whatever we have in the right hand side will remain same, because this is a eigenvalue like equation. So, I k vector dot r minus omega t. So, k x square, k y square, k z square, whatever we have here is nothing but k square, this is the amplitude of the k. So, I have grad square E is equal to minus of k square E, because E0 e to the power I k r minus omega t is nothing but my E. So, I have this thing. The next thing is to calculate this quantity. What is this? Again, these things will going to operate whatever we have, that is E0 vector e to the power of I k dot r. In the phase we have two terms, and when I operate this thing, this double derivative with respect to time will simply give me minus of omega square and then the vector E. If I calculate 1 by c square, because in the equation I have 1 by c square, it should be minus of omega square divided by c square and then E. Now, these things will satisfy these things, whatever we have here, and these things, these two will be equal only when k square is equal to omega square by c square, then it should be a solution, and this solution is called the plane wave. So, why it is called plane wave we are going to learn, but one thing we find that okay, I have a differential, I have a wave equation like this. So, let me summarize what we have. This is my wave equation. For this wave equation, I have, this is the wave equation, and for this wave equation I have a solution and the solution is of the form E vector is equal to E0 e to the power of I k dot r minus omega t, and when this is solution, then there is a relationship between k omega and c, and this relation is k is equal to omega divided by c. where k is called the propagation vector. Why it is called plane wave? Why this kind of solution are called plane wave? This is called plane wave, by the way. These kind of solutions are called plane wave. So, quickly we understand what is the meaning of plane wave here. So, I have a solution in this form. So, this is a complex kind of term. So, I can always write this as E0 vector e to the power of I phi. This thing is scalar quantity and phi is a scalar, which is a function of r and t, by the way, which is a function of position r and time t. So, that means phase is changing. So, phi, which is a phase, is k dot r minus omega t. Now, if it is a plane wave, then for a given time what happened? For a given time, if the phase is constant, then we can write, what we can write, that k dot r for a given time, this that means t is a constant and the phase, whatever the phase I write, phi is a constant. So, k dot r is eventually a constant term, say d, a constant. So, I have a equation, actually I have a equation in my hand. R is a space coordinate, and then with the space coordinate I have a equation in my hand. And what is the equation? The equation is kxx plus kyy plus kzz is equal to d. Now, we know that this equation is the equation of a plane. This is the equation of a plane. So, that means whenever I have k dot r constant, then it should be a plane. So, we can understand in this way that suppose I have a coordinate system like this, and in this coordinate system this is the plane I have, and I have a point over this plane which is r vector, and this is my k vector. Along this direction the entire plane is moving like this, the next point is like this, and so on. So, these planes are moving. So, every time when I calculate k dot r for this particular position, k dot r or r dot k, this quantity is basically the projection of r over this point. So, if I make a projection, so this is the point I am calculating every time. So, this is always constant if I have a plane. So, if I look this thing in this way, so this is the plane I have and this is my r vector, and this is my k. So, when I have k dot r, so this is one r, I can have more r. So, this is another r, another point, this is another point, this is another point. So, I have a several different points over the entire surface, and each time when I calculate r dot k, each time this will remain a constant. So, this is a constant. So, it happens only when we have a structure of plane, and whatever the solution we have is the form of a plane. So, that is why it is called the plane wave solution. This is a very important thing, that the solution of Maxwell's equation is a plane wave. If we assume this is a plane wave solution, then we can extract few other things as well from that. Now, after having the plane wave solution, the next thing, important thing, quickly we are going to understand is the relative direction of E, B and K. So, 3 vector quantity we have. So, we are going to find out the relative direction of in free space. So, again in free space we have 3 equations, grad dot E, 4 Maxwell's equation rather, grad dot B, these are the 2 equations, and another 2 equation is the curl equations. The curl of E is minus del V del T, and then curl of B is mu 0 epsilon 0 del E del T. We have 4 equations, and also on top of that we have the solutions for that, and the solution is E vector is equal to E 0 e to the power of I k dot r minus omega t, and similarly I have a solution for B as well. So, B will be equal to B 0 e to the power of I k dot r minus omega t. So, 2 plane wave solution we have, one is E and another is B. And now, one very important identity, one very important expression that one can extract from the solution is that. So, if I have this kind of solutions, so every time when I operate over this, it operates over E or B whatever, and every time if I operate, then this del will be replaced by the I k for this particular form, whatever the solution we have exponential. So, it is like this. So, these things will be equivalent. So, if I operate the gradient, if I operate the divergence, then it simply I k. You can verify that, you just operate over this and you will find that in the right hand side you have I k dot. In a similar way, when we have a curl operator, I will have in the right hand side as this. You can verify very quickly that this is really happening if I have a plane wave solution. And also another thing is this operator del t operator. If I operate del t, then it is equivalent to multiply like minus of I omega, and these three things can happen when we have plane wave solutions. When we have plane wave solutions, then these things will be valid. So, we will going to make use of that to all the 4 equations we have, 4 Maxwell's equations. So, first equation I have grad dot E equal to 0, and I know the solution of that E is equal to E0, the plane wave solution, e to the power of I k dot r minus omega t. This solution we know. As soon as I know this solution, what I do, I will just replace this thing, that this is nothing but I k dot with this solution E, and this is 0, or I can write that is simply k dot E is equal to 0. K dot is equal to 0 readily gives me the information that the vector k is perpendicular to vector E. So, the direction of the electric field and the propagation direction, which is k, is perpendicular to each other. This is the first information we have. In the similar way, exactly in the similar way, for B, I can have a same equation, because gradient divergence of B equal to 0 gives me the fact that I k dot B is equal to 0, and this tells me that k is a vector which is also perpendicular to the B. So, k is a vector that is perpendicular to E, and k is a vector that is perpendicular to B. That means k is perpendicular to the plane containing E and B both. This information we have just using the Maxwell's equation. So, k is perpendicular to B and E both, fine. Then we are going to use my third Maxwell's equation, which is the relationship between E and B. So, curl of E is equal to minus of del B del t. Again I can replace this curl operator, because let me write it once again. So, whenever I have this is equivalent to I k dot. Whenever I have curl, it is equivalent to I k curl. Whenever I have del t, this is equivalent to minus of I omega. So, I will use this second and third relation, and I find that I k cross E is equal to I of omega of B. This is interesting equation. I can cancel out this I and I both side. So, I have k cross E is equal to B vector multiplied by the frequency omega. So, now from this equation I can tell that B is again perpendicular to both E and K. Previously we find K is perpendicular to E and B, now we find that B is perpendicular to both E and K. So, that means that readily tells us that E vector V vector and k vector mutually perpendicular to each other. That means, if I plot in this direction E, then B will be in this direction and K will be in this direction, and that is precisely the case for electromagnetic wave. We know that electric field and magnetic field, they are vibrating each other and their direction, they are perpendicular to each other with a sinusoidal variation, and they propagate in a direction which is perpendicular to the both. So, K is the direction of propagation and E and B are placed in this way. Another important piece of information also we can extract from that, and that is the magnitude of B. So, I have curl cross E cross K cross E is equal to B omega. So, I have K cross E equal to omega of B. So, if I want to find out the magnitude of B, it should be K divided by omega and then the magnitude of E. And now we have a relation between K omega and C. So, K is equal to omega divided by C. So, K by omega is simply 1 divided by C. So, it is magnitude E divided by C. So, that means the magnitude of B and magnitude of E is correlated with the value C, and you can see that it is C is sitting in the denominator. So, magnitude of B is much smaller than the magnitude of E in the electromagnetic wave. Well, after that we quickly define one thing, which is energy density. Of electromagnetic wave. Of EM wave. So, we know that the energy in electric field, we know that the energy can be represented as this. And for magnetic field also we have an expression similar like this, that we know from our basic electromagnetic theory. So, the total energy is this plus this, and I can write this total energy as the energy density multiplied by the volume. This is integrated over the volume, small volume dV. So, from these three equations you can readily find out that energy density is simply half of the energy density, means the energy stored in a EMF, energy stored per unit volume. So, this quantity is simply half of epsilon 0 E square plus 1 by mu 0 B square, this. So, I like to stop here because I do not have much time for this class. So, till now we understand that what is electromagnetic wave. Starting from the Maxwell's equation, we understand the Maxwell's equation can be written in a wave equation form, When we have a wave equation, then we find that the solution can be represented in a specific form which we call the plane wave. We understand what is plane wave, and then when the electromagnetic wave is there, finally we just write down what is the amount of energy that it will going to store. So, when the electric field is moving, so some sort of energy is associated with that, and if I calculate the energy density, it will be related to the amplitude of the electric and magnetic field like this way, and this is the amount of energy. So, in the next class we will continue with this concept and try to understand what is the meaning of Poynting vector and few other things. With that note, let me conclude. Thank you for your attention.